And welcome everyone to today's City Council meeting. Today, Monday, August 24, 2026. It is now 6 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
District 1, Councilmember Casey.
Present.
District 2, Councilmember Vieira.
Present.
District 3, Councilmember Otero.
Here.
District 4, Vice Mayor Martinez, absent. Mayor Lopez.
Here. Please stand for the invocation by Chris Henry from Hope Tree Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's bow our heads as we pray. Father, I'm asking today that your Spirit come into this room, and as it has countless times, lead these civic leaders whom you have called out of their lives to do this. Lord, give them today what they need to lead us. Lord, I pray and call out the names of Javier, James, Serena, Rosalinda, that today in these positions, that you would give them wisdom and understanding for the times so that they may lead us rightly in this city. Not only that, but I pray a blessing over them personally and over their families so that they may understand what the goodness of God truly feels like. Lord, we pray also, as it's been brought to my attention, for Grandma Jeet, who has come up missing. Lord, I pray that we find the clues, that we are led quickly to find where she's at and bring her home safely. Lord, during this council session, may we be reminded that you govern in the affairs of humanity. Let us be reminded of that and be with us. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Do we have the student from Whitmore Charter here today? If we do not, we'll go ahead and commence the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. Today, we do have two presentations. One is Patriots Day Proclamation, and this will be presented to Assistant Fire Chief Andrew Hunter. The second one will be the Hope Tree Church 100th Anniversary Proclamation, and this will be presented to Hope Tree Church leader Chris Henry. He will be accepting the proclamation. So if I can please have both the City Council to step up to the podium. Thank you very much, everyone. This proclamation is proclaiming September 11, 2026 as Patriot Day. Whereas the city of Sirius will always remember and honor nearly 3,000 innocent lives lost on September 11th, 2001. As our great nation experienced the worst terrorist attack in history of the United States of America. And whereas September 11th will forever serve as a reminder of the United States of America's tremendous strength and resilience in the face of a devastating loss. Whereas we owe a debt and gratitude to our military, law enforcement, firefighters, first responders, volunteers, and emergency services for the selfless courage they demonstrated in the face of terror while defending our great freedoms. Whereas Americans, we must always come together and work to unify our community in order to defend our great freedoms, ensuring that such horrific acts are never again repeated and that our nation remains the land of the free. Whereas Americans, it is our duty to pay tribute to the victims, families, and heroes of September 11th attacks, ensuring their memories live on forever. Whereas by joint resolution, Public Law 10789 approved December 18th, 2001, the Congress of the United States of America designated September 11th of each year as Patriot Day. By Public Law 11-1-13 approved April 21st, 2009, the Congress of the United States of America has requested the observance of September 11th as an annually recognized National Day of Service and Remembrance. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Javier Lopez, Mayor of the City of Ceres, on behalf of the City Council, Vice Mayor Daniel A. Martinez, Council Members James Casey, Rosalinda L. Vieira, and Serena Otero, do hereby designate September 11th, 2026 as Patriot Day, a day of service and remembrance in the City of Ceres. Congratulations.
It's hard to believe that it's been 25 years since that day happened. And for those of us in this room that were aware, you will never forget where you were at when that happened. And the feelings that you had as you saw those tragic events happen. But I think in that same light, we can all reflect upon how that event brought people together. And we thought a little bit more about what was important. I want to take the opportunity to thank our members of the armed services who, for the work that they did after those events to ensure that our freedoms were protected. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the members of those family members that supported our members of the armed services, as well as our family members that support us in public service. They do the work at home so that we can go out and serve the public, and we appreciate their efforts. Thank you.
Take a quick little photo. And if we could have Chris Henry, please step up with us. There he is. This is also a special moment for you and your church. Proclaiming September 14th, 2026 as Hope Tree Church's 100th anniversary. Whereas Hope Tree Church was the first founded Pentecostal church in Ceres, and where the church first started in the Doolittle Pool Hall located in Ceres. Okay. And whereas the state of California officially recognized the church on September 14th, 1926, and was then known as Glad Tidings Mission. Whereas the original church was built from a reclaimed schoolhouse, and whereas Hope Tree Church supports over 25 missionaries worldwide and recently raised funds to build 5 churches buildings in Kenya. And whereas the church is most known for its annual mega sports camp, which provides a free sports camp to over 100 children for the 5-day summer event. Whereas Hope Tree Church participates in the annual Christmas Tree Lane Parade and hosts an annual Christmas Town every December at the church. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Javier Lopez, Mayor of the City of Ceres, on behalf of the City Council, Vice Mayor Daniel A. Martinez, Council Members James Casey, Rosalinda L. Vieira, and Serena Otero, do hereby proclaim September 14th, 2026 as Hope Tree's Church's 100th anniversary. Congratulations. Now, I will say that this proclamation is also a history testament. So thank you, Fallon, for this. She's always is a great steward to this. So, Chris, I would love to hear a couple words.
Oh. Thank you, Mayor Lopez and the City Council. Thank you for this honor. And I'm just glad that I've been here for 7 years of the 100 that this church has been around, making a difference, and we want to continue to do that. My board, who is here, along with several of our congregants, we're always looking for ways to improve, well, the look of our city right there where we are, since we're across the street from you guys. We want to do that. But we also want to provide more and more services to the children and point more people to Jesus, because we figure if they got Jesus inside, especially as children, as my wife leads our mega sports camp every year, 10 years later, 20 years later, you don't have to deal with them. They're amazing members of our city. We look forward to working with you guys. We have so many great plans that God has put in our hearts, and we want to be able to work with you guys to make these things happen, to see lives change, to see people come off the streets, to get clean from drugs, alcoholism, and addictions, and give their lives over to something greater, a greater faith in Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Moving on to citizens communication. While the City Council welcomes and encourages participation in City Council meetings, adopted rules allow no more than 5 minutes. Resolution 2007-106 for expression of non-agenda items. Matters under the jurisdiction of the City Council and not on the posted agenda may be addressed by the general public. However, California law prohibits the City Council from taking any action on any matter which is not posted on the agenda, unless it is determined by the City Council to be an emergency. Citizens are entitled to address City Council on any agenda item subject to the 5-minute provision. Anyone wishing to address the City Council must adhere to the rules of decorum, and the rules of decorum are posted outside the chamber doors. And if we can please start with our representatives.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and members of the public. My name is Danielle Morgar. I'm from the Office of Assemblyman Juan Alanis, and I'm here to provide a legislative update. I'm happy to report the following. Assemblymember Alanis's bill, AB 1617, currently awaits a signature by the governor. If signed into law, this would standardize the reporting requirements for household hazardous waste collection facilities to submit data to CalRecycle and the Department of Toxic Substance Control. Also, Assembly Bill 1728 passed the Senate floor, which would expand the Common Course numbering system to include firefighting and law enforcement courses. As always, if there's any questions regarding our legislation or if our district office can assist anyone with our casework services, please do not hesitate to reach out to our office. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll start off with any in-person comments.
Good evening. My name's Shane Parson. And maybe this isn't the appropriate time. I'm looking at this ordinance. So is that they're going to bring that October 12th? Prior to that, can we make any comments on that, or is that not acceptable?
I believe that's the item that Julian, you have. I believe that there will be a public period for that, for you can have your questions asked.
In October?
No, today.
Oh, today?
Today.
Okay, that was my question.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. I appreciate that. Anyone else? Seeing none. Anyone on Zoom?
There are no hands raised and there were no emails received.
Okay, moving on, closing public communications. Is there any conflict of interest from the council? Seeing none, there is no appointments. Moving on to consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be acted by a single motion unless otherwise requested by an individual council member or public for special consideration. Otherwise, a recommendation of staff will be accepted and acted upon by a roll call vote. Earlier, the city manager mentioned to me that the item 7 from the consent calendar is being pulled for a future item. Any of our council members would like to an item pulled? Councilwoman Otero.
I'd like to pull item 9 and 10, please.
Okay, any other council members? Okay, anyone from the audience? Seeing none. Any hands raised on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, come back for a motion.
I'll motion to approve 1 through, where's the consent?
6.
1 through, is it 6? 6, and then 8, and then 11 through 14.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
Aye.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Otero,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes,
Motion carries 4-0.
thank you very much. This is item number 9, Councilwoman Otero.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for the record, I did reach out to the city manager. I want to make sure that in the agreement, there will be a link for the fees at River Bluff because that was not in there.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and council members. There are actually 2 links missing from the city side. There is 1 link in there. There will be inserted before the agreement is executed a separate link that deals with most city parks, and then a 3rd link that deals specifically with River Bluff.
Thank you. And then my other concern, just in general, when it comes, I think CSUD agreement's an example. I'd like to see the city have an estimated cost of what the labor and equipment costs that are required for lining the soccer fields for district use. And I think that should apply for multiple agreements of organizations using the fields. But that was my only other concern. And I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other council members like to? Councilwoman Vieira.
Thank you. And again, this is just kind of following up to our earlier conversation. I wasn't quite sure because I know you had said there was no cash out value. It looked like that only under this agreement. I just wanted to confirm because I know in prior contracts it was not there that it'll allow the third party usage for the aquatics program and the hoopsters, which I know wasn't allowed in prior contracts. And then lastly, just a quick understanding, a basic review of how the credits for work the credit for use would work. All right.
Thank you. Good evening again. The credits for use, well, sorry, let me back up. The city of Ceres has enjoyed an agreement and a relationship with the Ceres Unified District for quite some time. Dating back to 2011 was the most recent memorandum of understanding that was executed between the city and the district. And in that agreement, it was a facilities use agreement, which means that the city could use the district's facilities unlimited for no fees, and the district could use the city's facilities unlimited for no fees. It was recognized amongst both the city and the district that this agreement needed to be updated because what was happening with that agreement was that the district would use the city's facilities much more often than the city would use the district's facilities. So the agreement was somewhat lopsided. They would get much more use out of ours than we would get out of theirs. And that was recognized on both sides. And we do have Dr. Britton on Zoom representing the school district if there are any questions for her. So the district gave the city a notice of intent to terminate the 2011 agreement with the understanding that we would both work together to come up with this new agreement, which is before you tonight. In this new agreement, instead of unlimited free use on both sides, since the district uses the city's facilities more than the city uses the district's facilities, there will be a meeting twice a year between the city and the district. And in this meeting, we will attempt to determine how often do we want to use their facilities and how often do they want to use our facilities. However often we want to use their facilities, there will be a dollar amount assigned to that projected use based on their fees. That's the credit that we will give the district when they use our fees. So let's say, for example, it's determined that the city will use the district facilities for a total amount of $5,000 for the year. Instead of the city paying that $5,000, the city will give the district a credit of $5,000 so that they can use our facilities. Once that $5,000 is exhausted, the district will then pay for each additional use beyond that $5,000. And $5,000 is just a number I came up with. That's not anything realistic or statistical. But the history has shown that that is most likely how this arrangement will be, that there will be an amount that the city will credit the district, and then if the district wants to use our facilities more than that credited amount, they will pay for that use.
Thank you. But, one last thing, just to confirm, this will allow us to bring back the aquatics and the Hoopsters program?
Yes, also in this new agreement, there's no third-party arrangements, which means when we want to use their facilities or they want to use our facilities, it has to be a true city event to use their facilities. And it has to be a true district event to use our facilities. The only exception to that is the swim program and Hoopsters. The district has agreed to allow third party to manage and run the program of the summer aquatics as well as Hoopsters. Outside of those two exceptions to the third party use, there will be no more third party use. But it will allow us to use the district's pool if we want to engage them in the summer aquatics program next year, as well as the district's facilities for Hoopsters, even though it's not city staff that runs the Hoopsters program. So that is by way of exception. And it's specified in the agreement that way.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure. I appreciate you answering that both in writing and again here present in front of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and move on to any public comments. Anyone in the audience would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring this item back. Anybody on Zoom?
There are no hands raised.
Bring this item back for a motion.
I'll do a motion to approve resolution approving the facilities use agreement between the City of Ceres and Ceres Unified School District for the mutual use of public facilities and authorizing our interim city manager to execute the agreement.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Casey,
Yes.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Otero,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item number 10, Councilwoman Otero.
Thank you, Mayor. In regard to the contracts, I'm happy to see that we found a way to bring back some of these services. And I do want to thank our parks and facilities and street teams, everyone who's been helping with getting some of the landscape cleaned up at the parks and the right-of-ways. But just for future, I guess, documentation, things that we should look towards, I would like to see the city monitor the irrigation from the sprinklers along the city right-of-ways and even downtown. And I did speak to our city manager about it. I know the contractor will look for broken sprinklers and they'll report those things back. But I think it's important that we actually see that water is running from them, that they're actually working, because we can see, the dry shrubs all over the city, the tree roots breaking up the sidewalks and everything. And I don't want that to run into a liability for the city or in the future cost more because now we're replacing all of the nice plants. So if that's something we can just put on our radar for the future and figure out a way of how to maintain the water in those areas, it would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments from any other council members? Councilwoman Vieira?
Thank you. I just want to get a little clarification. I know I kind of emailed you a little bit on this regarding why, because originally I know you had mentioned the possibility of getting a partial contract during the heavy months, like right now, where staff is not able to keep up. And I saw the contract was actually for a year round instead, which was kind of different from what our initial understanding was. So I just wanted to see what happened to cause the change and make you feel that this was a better decision. And then just out of curiosity, how many contracts did we get in, and did it go out for a full RFP? Or I don't think it was needed because the dollar amount, but I just wanted to confirm that this was out. Although I don't have a problem with Elite. I've heard great things, and the fact that there's a local business here in Ceres, I'm ecstatic about, because I think it's important we keep jobs local and we keep our money in the community, especially our own community. But I just wanted to kind of get the understanding regarding why it was a full contract, not a partial, and how many bids we actually received.
Okay, thank you for the question. So I'll answer the first part, and then I'll refer to Joshua for how many vendors were solicited. So for the first part, there are two separate agreements that we're considering. One is before you tonight. And the reason that it's before you tonight is because as the city manager, I have signing authority for anything less than a year and under $25,000. As long as money is budgeted for it, I can enter into those agreements on my own authority. If it is either over a year or it is more than $25,000, it has to come to city council for approval because I don't have that authority. So in this particular agreement, the total amount estimated is $129,720, which obviously is over my $25,000 signing limit. So that's the reason why it has to come to council for approval. It was always contemplated that it would be a one-year agreement specifically for the landscape and lighting districts and the CFD 1 and CFD 2, which is what this agreement covers. The other agreement that you mentioned is something that staff is also working on, but it's separate from this. There is another agreement that we want to enter into, specifically I want to enter into. It is less than a year. It is under $25,000. And what it would do is it would provide for interim assistance during the heavy growth months of landscaping, that a company can come in and assist our parks department and our streets department with landscaping and other services at two specific locations, at River Bluff and at Smyrna Park. That would be for approximately a 9-week engagement with a different landscaping company under a different agreement, and it would be under $25,000. So there are two things. One is before you tonight. It's the 1-year commitment with Elite for the landscape and lighting districts, along with the CFD 1 and CFD 2. And then separate from that, staff is still working on this temporary 9-week agreement, which would not need to come before council.
Thank you.
Joshua, you say you were going to...
Could you repeat the second part of your question as well?
I was just curious about the RFP process and how many bids may or may not have been received, or how many went out, that kind of engagement.
Okay, thank you for your question. Council and Mayor, luckily we did some work to try and shorten the length of time that we had to wait in order to get this this RFP put out and responded to, and to observe all the bids and make the right decision. Working with our engineering department, we use the CUPCCAA, which allows public projects that are up to $220,000 to be awarded using an informal bidders list. So that is something that the engineering department holds. It's available for people to apply for on our city website. We contacted multiple, I think we contacted about 10 different companies in the area and gave them the instruction to apply for the informal bidders list. We had 5 fill it out in time for the RFP. We sent it to those directly as the CUPCCAA states, and then we gave the recommended amount of time that is stated within that. The notice and the time for the bidding was all given as according to that. And then we only received one responsible bid. We had some other people respond and state their interest, but somebody said that at this time they couldn't. So there was multiple responses, but the qualified bid that we have tonight was the only fully accepted, completed bid.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Casey.
Thank you. So with this contract, will this help do the landscaping issues that are in the Tuolumne River Road area that several of the people in my district have sent messages to the city manager on? I can't think of the name of the housing development right now. River something.
Yes, this agreement would service all areas of the landscape and lighting district throughout the city, as well as CFD number 1 and CFD number 2. So if there is a parcel within CFD 1, CFD 2, or the landscape and lighting district, this maintenance agreement would maintain that right of way.
Yes, just want to clarify the right-of-ways, not just the parcels. So the right-of-ways that are defined in those agreements in the LLD and the CFD 1 and 2 have all been included on the right-of-way list that's attached to this resolution, to the agreement. We did go through the previous agreements and remove the areas that were not part of the LLD and the CFDs. And we also went through the LLD and the CFDs to ensure that all the listed right-of-ways were added into this document as well.
I think Mr. Casey was referencing River Ranch. Is that correct? Yeah, River Ranch. Okay.
So there is areas of River Road that are on the list. It's specifically River Road, South Side Moffett to Canyon Falls, River Road, South Side Canyon Falls to North Canyon Block, the wall only, River Road, South Side North Canyon to Mitchell Block, wall only. Those are the ones specifically off of River Road. But there's a map at the end that's a reference to. And then this is just for clarification, all city right-of-ways are still the responsibility of the city staff. This is just allocating the funds that are already collected within the LLD and the CFD assessments to the properties, and just making sure that everything that's already been assessed and that's already been allocated for contracted use or contracted services versus staffing is being used in the appropriate way.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Otero, you have an additional question?
Yeah, I just want to get clarification. I don't know, for City Manager Josh, you mentioned a secondary contract that would be less than $25,000. Does that have to go out to RFP as well, or is it something you guys have already worked together to identify a company?
It would follow the same process as this contract before you followed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, all my questions were actually answered by both council members and Mr. Casey, so I'm very supportive of this landscaping agreement for CFD1 and CFD2. We'll go ahead and open this up to the public. Is any members of the public that would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none, bring this item back. Anyone online?
There are no hands raised.
Bring this item back for a motion.
A motion to approving the landscape and maintenance agreement with Elite Maintenance and Tree Service for city right-of-ways in the amount of $129,720 and authorizing the interim city manager, Steve, to execute the agreement.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
Yes.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Otero,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Moving on to public hearing. Item number 1 on public hearing, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ceres adding section 9.01070, authorized camping in public areas to chapter 01, disorderly conduct of the title 9, public peace, safety, and morale of the City of Ceres Municipal Code. And this is actually going to Travis, correct?
Mayor, thank you. Mayor, City Council, thanks for the question. I just, as the mayor said, we want to bring a proposed ordinance change to our disorderly conduct code. The change, as the mayor mentioned, would be 9.01.070. That would establish clear rules prohibiting camping, lodging, sleeping overnight, and the storage or use of camping-related property on sidewalks, streets, alleys, plazas, parkways, right-of-ways, and other public property unless previously authorized by the city. It also prohibits encampments, personal property, or actually a person's physical presence from blocking the right-of-way. To touch on a couple things that are actually written into the ordinance. Again, it says no person shall camp, occupy camp facilities, use camp paraphernalia, all that I just talked about. But the important one is this, section C would be no person shall block, obstruct, or interfere with the free passage of pedestrians or vehicles on any sidewalk, street, trail, or other public right-of-way by means of personal property, including camp facilities or camp paraphernalia. So really what this does, it gives us we have some ordinances that cover similar things, but nothing specific to this. That with the previous ordinances they were specific to like some specific actions or a specific location, like close to a critical infrastructure or something of that nature. This gives us more of a citywide prohibition against camping. So the city already, like I said, it has ordinances addressing obstructions, nuisances, park violations, and all that. However, those ordinances address civil impacts or specific locations, as I mentioned. This proposed ordinance fills the remaining gap by establishing a clear citywide prohibition against unauthorized camping on public property. And it gives staff and the law enforcement and your rec manager, all that, a more consistent enforcement tool. So there is a criminal aspect to this now. So before it was more of a request. Now we have an enforcement arm we can use behind that request should they be a habitual offender or just a flat refusal to move, anything like that. So as you all know, we've had an increase of people, maybe just bicycles, dogs, equipment, any part of their property all over the sidewalk, specifically Moore Hatch, Mitchell area. But this will give us the enforcement tool to kind of combat that.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and open this up to the public. Is there anyone in the chambers that'd like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none. Actually, there is one. Welcome. Please state your name.
My name is Stephen Patterson. I reside within the city limits here of Hatch and Mitchell. And in the past few years, I've resided 15 years within the right-of-ways of Hatch and Mitchell behind the Food for Less. And we're quite familiar with transients, encampments within the right-of-way of the bicycle path and the walkway that stretches Hatch Road. And it would please a lot of individual city people to look at this code and have the board approve this code, because we do have trouble with between the marijuana dispensary that resides behind Jack in the Box on the Hatch side in Mitchell's, where we have a lot of traffic, people leaving shopping carts, tents, belongings that really discourage people taking advantage of those routes behind the canal side and utilizing a lot of that property. With that said, I wish that the board would look at this and finally approve this motion for them to be able to take advantage and remove these people and better serve the community. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Seeing none. Is there anyone online?
There are no hands raised or emails received.
I'll go ahead and close the public section of this portion, and then I'll move on to the public hearing is now closed. Move on to the council for any comments. No comments. Bring it for a motion.
I'll do a motion, the approval of the ordinance of the city of Ceres, adding section 9.01.070, authorizing unauthorization of camping in public areas to Chapter 1, Disorderly Conduct of Title 9, Public Peace, Safety, and Morale of the Ceres Municipal Code.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
Yes.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Otero,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item number 2, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ceres adding Section 9.16.120, use of parks for recreational purpose only, to Chapter 16, Parks, Public Property, and Public Facilities of Title 9, Public Peace, Safety, and Morals of the Ceres Municipal Code. And this is also Travis.
All right, thank you again, Mayor and Council. This is another ordinance proposal that we'd like to bring to you. It's, as Mayor mentioned, this one deals more specifically with parks. The section would be 9.16.120, and that would outline the use of parks for recreational purposes only. It would clarify that city parks are intended primarily for recreational activities, including walking, jogging, picnicking, sports, passive leisure, and other activities compatible with the safe and peaceful enjoyment of parks. It does prohibit non-recreational use that interferes with or deters recreation by other users. It creates a reasonable fear, threats, or nuisance, involves camping or camping equipment, except those permitted by other parts of our ordinance that would be authorized or approved by council, the youth camping ordinance that we currently have. Or if moving on, or if it blocks access, threatens users, or damages park conditions. So that would, again, we had a broad, we have some ordinances that kind of cover this, but really we want to just harp on the fact that this isn't an attack on homeless or camping or anything like that. It covers conduct only. Housing status is not involved in this. I know we got some feedback about, well, you're targeting homeless. That's not it at all. This is just conduct in itself, and that's for anybody and everybody using the park facilities. So just to cover a couple of things that are actually written into the intent is that public parks are intended to be used primarily for recreational activities, again, which may include walking, jogging, picnicking, sports, passive leisure, and other organized or casual forms of recreation compatible with the safe and peaceful enjoyment of the park by all members of the community. Some of the prohibited non-recreational use we have listed in here is remaining in the park without engaging in recreational activity in a manner that interferes or deters recreational use by others. So just merely being in the park isn't interfering. You have to be interfering or deterring use by others is kind of the key point there. Creating a condition that causes a reasonable fear for other members or their own safety, or engaging in a behavior that is threatening or constitutes a nuisance under section 19.08.080. And then we get into the camping. That has been one of our big problems, camping in the parks. Camping is fully covered in this ordinance. Camping using camp facilities, camping paraphernalia, except those ones previously authorized by our youth campers that are authorized under the other sections of the code. And then our fourth, the final part of that is assembling or congregating in a manner that blocks access to the facilities, threatens other park users, or results in the deterioration of park conditions. Again, like I said, we had some loose ordinances that kind of covered this, but this gives us a better enforcement tool. It typically went with us contacting people who are using the facility at the park, maybe congregating in an unsafe manner, or just maybe threatening or deterring use by others. We could only go and contact them and ask them to move. If they didn't want to move, not a whole lot we can do about it. Luckily, we haven't ran into that too much. When you get 4 or 5 cops that are asking you to move, they typically move. They don't want any issues. But should they be habitual return offenders or just, again, flat out refusals, this gives us the authority to actually have some teeth. So typically, for example, it starts with a consensual encounter and then a request to move. And if they don't want to move, then it could be like a threat, and maybe they typically move with a threat of a citation or an arrest. And if they don't move after that, then we do have the authority. This would give us the authority to make an arrest, a citation or an arrest. So it'd be super beneficial for us, because right now there's not a whole lot we can do besides ask.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and open this up to the public. Any members of the public would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none, anyone online?
There are no hands raised and no emails received.
Okay, I'm bringing this item back to council. Councilwoman Otero.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Lieutenant, for the presentation on this ordinance. And I just want to thank the police department for looking at these ordinances. And like you said, it needs to be tightened up. And unfortunately, because of state laws and everything, we get to the point where cities have to control what's happening within, because you can only do so much when it comes to, the lack of consequences for some of these individuals. So this is a way to keep our parks safe and keep our youth safe and anybody who enjoys the area. So I do appreciate this cleanup.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Vieira.
Thank you. And Serena's completely correct. But I do have some specifics just because that last part kind of got my attention, which I don't remember reading. Regarding the citation or arrest, I didn't see anything in here about possible penalties. Is it just kind of a cite and release, or is there chargeable offenses associated with this?
I mean, look, I know it can be up to misdemeanor, but let me figure out. I had two ordinances here and I'm confusing them in my brain.
I apologize. It just caught my attention when you said that, because I usually try to email you my questions. And
Well, they're both misdemeanors. One, which one is it that would be the third offense?
If we can have you step up to the podium for clarification.
Good afternoon, McCann. It's a pleasure having you here.
Good afternoon. So for the parks one, it'd be a misdemeanor, which would be punishable by a fine up to $1,000 or prosecution by the district attorney or the city attorney.
So just for everybody's information, this is Dave McCann. He's the CSO with us and he authored these and he did all the back and forth with the attorneys. So he's the expert in this matter.
So is this something that the DA would prosecute, or is that going to be more in-house with our city attorney?
They can, but in my conversation with the city attorney, it would probably fall to them if it got to that level. So the first offense or a couple offenses, we're not going to immediately go to prosecution. It's probably going to go to citations. And then if it becomes an habitual, then we'll probably have to seek prosecution.
Really, I don't see it getting that far, but he's correct. Yeah, the first one or two would maybe go to our city attorney, but I don't even see it getting that far. Typically, when you ask them to move, if you have the means to arrest or cite them, they're going to move. They're not going to stick around for that. That's a silly citation, but it does give us that enforcement arm we need.
Thank you.
Okay, anything to combat homeless encampments and any of that nature, or anything that are happening in our parks, as we know the community continues to ask for us to continue to do this enforcement. I know that it isn't as big of an issue as it is in other municipalities, but the city of Ceres continues to be the leaders in this. And I want to say thank you very much for putting these two ordinances together as we continue to combat homeless encampments here in this community. And with that, I bring this item back for a motion.
Motion to the ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ceres adding section.
Just a point of order. Did I go to the public? I did. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. She just wanted to verify. Excuse me, Vera. Did you?
Ordinance of the City of Ceres adding section 9.16.120, the use of parks for recreational purposes only, to chapter 16, parks, public property, and public facilities, to title 9, public peace, safety, and morale of the city municipal code.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
Yes.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Otero,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item number 3, this is approving the annual report of the City of Ceres Downtown Revitalization Area, CDRA, for fiscal year 2026-27, and setting a public hearing for October 12th, 2026, to levy an annual assessment for fiscal year 2026-27. And this goes to our Economic Development and Redevelopment Manager, Julian. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight, staff is presenting the annual report for the Ceres Downtown Revitalization District for fiscal year 2026 to 27. Staff recommend that the City Council approve the annual report and propose expenditures, and to set a public hearing for October 12th to consider the levy of the annual assessment for this fiscal year. The annual report and request to levy the assessment were reviewed and approved by the Downtown Revitalization Advisory Board on July 20th. The annual report provides a brief overview of the anticipated expenditures and activities for the upcoming fiscal year. Although the expenditures and activities are small, that is due to the funding that's inside that account at this time. Revenue generated through the annual assessment will be to support downtown beautification and other general projects and improvements that benefit the downtown revitalization. Should council choose not to levy, any outstanding expenditures will impact the general fund. Staff recommends that the city council approve the annual report and proposed expenditures. For this year, they're very limited to the electricity, lighting for the downtown. The funds that we generate from the levy in future, if on the assessments, those funds can go for beautification. We did have the landscaping for downtown that was majorly impacted when the levy was not assessed. So as you can see, the downtown has kind of dilapidated from the landscaping. So we're just asking for council this evening to approve the annual report so that we can get some of the expenditures paid out of that account. This account gets rolled over to the following year. So anything that is left over in that account gets rolled over to start the next year. And then to request that you schedule the hearing for October 12th to come back for the levy.
Thank you very much, Julian. We'll go ahead and open this up to the public. Any members of the public would like to make a comment?
My name is Shane Parson. Good evening, everybody. Don't really own a business downtown, but I'm between me and Mr. Delhart are probably the largest property owners down there. Certainly in favor of a levy, and if my renters can't pay it, I will. But I have some ideas that are just not, they're going on deaf ears. And it gets to the point where you want me to put up my money? I will. But I'd like to see some parking issues addressed. I'd like to see maybe some outdoor gazebos addressed for some of the, the restaurants, coffee shop, sandwich shop. But our biggest issue, in my opinion, right now is parking. And I've asked, well, we're going to do a study. Not going to do a study. Doesn't happen. So if you want money into this program, then you need to listen to the property owners, and I'll make it happen as far as the money's concerned.
Thank you very much. Next person, please.
Ever place you, Shirley Rogers series, still here. Ever place that you put a roundabout, you took away 8 parking places. So downtown, at both ends of downtown, you have approximately 16 parking places or more you could have. If you put the curbs back where they belong, they're not beautiful. It makes it hard to make a turn. So there's no purpose. There's no reason for them. Put it back like it was before you made it beautiful, which isn't beautiful.
See, there was a hand raised in the back. Please step up to the podium.
I'm Barinder Kaur. My business is here in the downtown. I missed a couple of meetings about the what we are agenda levy. I think I'm not good with these words. So my business is like I'm a DMV partner and IRP partner. So I want to just request just to set a like flat monthly or yearly or 6 months instead of how much gross we make. Because most of my business is like registration renewals that goes anywhere between 150 to 700 for the cars, and for the IRP anywhere between 1900 to 3000. If we go with the gross, then it's going to be a big numbers, but at the end I do not left with that much money. So I just want to let the city know that instead of looking for the gross numbers, just look at the net. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Go ahead. Is there anyone online?
There are no hands raised and no emails received.
Okay. And I have a question for Julian. Per these recommendations, even though we are having a hearing on the 12th, can we take these recommendations down today and then that be a part of the discussion?
Yes, that is correct, Mayor.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. And just asking that, is it okay for council to attend these as well, just to kind of get some input?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Otero.
Thank you, Mayor. In 2018, there was a project done in downtown Ceres, and so obviously some investment has been made. I just want to make sure that we continue to maintain the area, so that way we can attract new businesses, we can keep the existing businesses. That's important to me. Also, when it comes to the assessments, I do want to make sure we are fair. And my understanding is, and Julian, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been, I think, what was the year that the assessments were created?
1988.
Okay. So obviously costs have gone up. And I'd like to see us as a city figure out how do we, supplement the cost from what the business owners are paying. Because like last year when the assessments weren't approved, what did we do as a city to try to accommodate those areas and keep them clean? And, they weren't maintained properly from what I see and what I've heard from others. So what effort are we putting in to take the extra step to make sure that that everything is maintained? And as I mentioned before, I just want to make sure we give the opportunity for the business owners to stay involved through meetings, through communication with city staff, make sure, there's emails going out to them, in-person conversation, because they have brought some good suggestions. And I'm glad that Mayor asked about even the council, participating so we can hear what those suggestions are, because it's important we meet the needs of those businesses who want to be here in Ceres. Thank you.
Councilwoman Otero just made me think of a good question to ask. Are you having any difficulty with any of the other business owners in attending the meetings? Are you having every single business owner?
So historically, there's anywhere from 5 to 7, usually the same business owners in the downtown area. That is due to businesses closing or just not wanting to be involved. I know in the past, we had a third party that was just collecting the assessment, but was not really doing a whole lot of follow-up on those assessments. So a lot of those businesses didn't know that they needed to be assessed. But we have done our due diligence to get it out there. We either do flyers and deliver to the businesses. Tonight's meeting and the meeting on the 12th. U.S. mail, they each get a delivery in the mail. An email will go out. It's just about getting the community downtown involved. It's going to take a while for us to do that. But I believe we have some good business owners downtown that are willing to help and support this great cause.
Right. And I'm sorry, real quick, Councilwoman. Some of the new businesses that are now opening up are probably should be on your list to send mail, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes. So as they come through, we put them on the list to go through. We sent out 52 mailers for this meeting. We'll send out those exact 52 for October 12th, along with an email follow-up for those emails that we do have on file.
Now, would it be okay, City Manager, if the council gets a copy of these 52 businesses? I would be willing to help as well to communicate, and I'm sure the council might have some relationships with some members downtown to try to, convince them to show up to these meetings. It really does help us as a council to try to better understand the reasons why they aren't making it to these meetings, whether it's the finance portion, as you heard from one of the business owners downtown, or maybe they're just not checking their mail and they're more checking their email, social media, or whatnot. So I think that it might be a benefit. Would that be okay?
Yes, Mayor, and we will provide that, because if we do move forward with the levy assessment for the 12th, there will actually be a list of businesses that will be attached to that staff report.
That helps as well. That's the same thing, I guess. Now, Councilwoman Otero, you had a question. Sorry about that.
I had a follow-up question after you were talking about who attends the meetings. Is there any possibility, I know I brought it up before, can we create a board of our downtown businesses and those who live in the area versus having the board be the planning commission? Has that been something the city has explored?
Yes. So prior to 1998, the city council has explored several options. One was having a board of 7 with 2 non-voting. Then they reduced it to, I believe, 5 plus 2 non-voting. There was inconsistency of not getting a quorum together. So therefore, meetings were not being held over time. So in 1998, council determined to make the planning commission, which is an established 5, as the acting advisory council. Throughout the years, the downtown would have try to attempt to have quarterly meetings and then bring those meetings to the advisory committee. The statute does state that we have to have 1 meeting to present the annual report. And so with the turnover of staff the last several years, it's been very difficult to kind of get a consistency. I think moving forward, we can try to get a consistency to get at least a majority of the business owners to re-establish the advisory board for the downtown businesses. And then that way we can bring that back to council for further discussion and approval.
Thank you.
Maybe one of our council members can make a recommendation at the end of the meeting, expedite that process. Okay, with that being said, I bring this item back for a motion, unless there was another additional comment. Mr. Casey, go ahead.
I just want to go back to the parking issue. We can have a beautiful downtown, and it's not just downtown, isn't it? From 6th Street or 5th Street to 3rd Street. But the parking is a horrible situation. First-hand information from Jim Casey. I went to the Ceres drugstore, pick up the medicine for my aunt, and the Wells Fargo's full. Every parking stall on both sides of 4th Street are full. I had to walk around, I had to park around the corner. Were all those people in the stores buying stuff? There weren't very many in Ceres Drug, and the Wells Fargo Bank was closed. So I don't know. But I think the parking issue is foremost in this. Mr. Parsons brought it up, and it is a big issue.
Mr. Casey, realizing your comments and also the concerns, why isn't the city trying to do a better job of promoting the community center parking lot that we have catty corner to Wells Fargo? I know that maybe we need to put up some more signs. There's 2 entrances to that parking. I park there sometimes. I would rather prefer to park in front of the Drip, make my life easier. But if I have to park just a half a block down, I do so. Is that something that would be a part of the comments and recommendations for the public hearing, or is that an item that needs to be separately asked about for, I don't know if this is a Nubia or city manager question in regards to putting up signs to indicate that there is there's more parking downtown?
Yes, thank you. There is as we all know, very large and usually mostly empty parking lot right across the street from, the north section of downtown. We can look into putting some more signs pointing potential customers to that parking lot as an option. I would also note that referral item number 2523 is hourly parking in downtown, referred by Councilmember Martinez. It's been assigned to the police department. So it's one of the referral items that has already been made and has gained consensus in terms of looking at options for downtown, including hourly parking. I know that's something that Mr. Parson has brought up in the past to me. So I think that referral item Along with encouraging patrons to use the very large parking lot right here, we can definitely look into some additional signage.
Thank you. Councilwoman Vera, you pressed your button? He answered your
My
question?
question, that's what it
Okay,
was.
sounds good.
That's what I was going to ask. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Casey, for bringing that up again. And we'll go ahead and go back to the council for a motion on this item.
I'll motion to approve the annual report for the Ceres Downtown Revitalization Area, the CDRA, for fiscal year 26-27, and setting a public hearing for October 12th, 2026 to levy an annual assessment for fiscal year 2026-2027.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
No.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Otero,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-1.
Item number 4, this is an ordinance to waiver the second reading and adoption of the ordinance of the City Council on the City of Ceres, adding Chapter 1518, Electric Vehicle Charging Station Permit, extending to Title 15, Building and Construction of the Ceres Municipal Code. And this goes to our attorney, Nubia.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you tonight is the ordinance that you were presented with at your last meeting. This is being presented to you tonight for second reading and adoption. As the council recalls, you did have an item on this previously. The reason why this item has been agendized for public hearing is that the notice was published for today's date. So hence why it's here and not on your consent calendar. You might recall that usually when you introduce an ordinance without revisions, it goes on the consent calendar for the next one. So I just want to give you that little bit of backdrop. Aside from that, there have been no changes to the ordinance. The council has already considered this for introduction. This ordinance complies and comports the municipal code to align with state law. It's something that should have been in place several years ago, and we are now just doing some cleanup work to make sure that the code is compliant with state law and applicable regulations as it relates to electric vehicle charging station permit requirements. So I can answer any questions that the council may have.
Before we answer or ask any questions, we'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Any members of the public would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none, anyone online?
There are no hands raised and no emails received.
I'll bring this item back to council. Councilwoman Otero.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just for clarification about the charging stations here in the city. Maybe Julian, can you remind me how many do we have at the community center parking lot?
We have one charging station.
So I would just keep that in mind if we, guess kind of goes hand in hand with parking downtown. Since we're talking about this ordinance, maybe this is something we can keep in mind for future parking downtown. Thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Vieira.
Thank you. Just want to confirm, and I'm not exactly I'm assuming it's going to be Beltran, regarding Cal Green, because I believe all new constructions now have to be EV ready and they do have to be EV compliant. So I'm just wanting to verify this one aligns, and most new constructions do have to be EV ready and not necessarily, and at what point do they have to have the charging stations in place?
Thank you for your question, Councilwoman. So yes, we do follow Cal Green. There are certain requirements when they actually need to install chargers, and there are certain requirements where they actually need to be what we consider EV ready, meaning conduits are in, those types of things. And our building department does follow those requirements.
So just to confirm, because I don't know if everyone knows what Cal Green is, because it took me a little bit to also learn. So all new constructions do have to have the infrastructure needed to put in EV chargers, correct? And at what
Yes,
point
that is correct. I just would say on top of that, not only do they have to have the infrastructure to install it, there are some requirements within Cal Green where they would be required to actually install and not just be ready to install.
And at what point does that infrastructure have to be used? Because I know most of our construction sites now, like the Grubhub, has to have it, and these new construction sites have them. I'm just wondering at what point do they actually have to use them?
So that is actually based on the parking that they are requiring. So depending on how much parking is required is dependent on how if they actually need to install them or if they need to just be ready to install them. So I would presume that at some point in time, places that are ready to install them, the state will eventually mandate that something gets installed. Most likely that would happen also when they have an improvement, not necessarily just because the state mandates it.
Okay, so just for verification, one last time, I'll just kind of repeat myself. Every new construction project that's currently going through the both of you, because I know both of you got projects going, do have to have the EV infrastructure in place, although they may not necessarily, depend on their size, have to have it in fully functional yet.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Just to elaborate and expand on that question from Councilwoman Vieira, how was the city of Ceres processing these applications before this ordinance came to light? I mean, obviously there is charging stations in the city of Ceres, regardless of an ordinance. I obviously have seen and noticed that these requirements were being implemented per the state of California already. Just so the public knows, how were we processing these applications before this ordinance?
So processing would go through the our building plan division, and they would get processed according to Stanislaus County building, the process in a timely manner when they went through plan check. So each division or each development that went through would be checked through the building department to make sure that they meet all the requirements. At entitlement, planning division will see if they are on the site plans. They're not necessarily required at that time, but we do give a comment that they would be required once they go to building for plan check.
Thank you very much, Julian. Appreciate that. Any additional comments or questions? Looking for a motion.
I'll motion the waiver of the second reading and adoption of the ordinance of the City Council for the City of Ceres, adding Chapter 15.8 Electric Vehicle Charging Station Permit Expediting to Title 15 Building and Construction of the Ceres Municipal Code.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
Yes.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Otero,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Well, we might set a record today, so I don't know if you guys want to take a break or are we okay continuing? Okay, let's keep going. Item number 1 on new business, amending the capital improvement program to add the Hatch Road widening project for the existing SRWA South Transmission Main Project, accepting $480,000 in service transportation block grant funds, approving budget amendments, approving $480,000 in service transportation block grant funds, and $120,000 in Measure L funds, approving project agreement number 6 with Westwood Professional Service Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $550,000, and authorizing the interim city manager to execute this agreement. Michael Beltran.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Before you tonight is a long list of items that we are approving within this staff report. The Hatch Road widening project was not on the capital improvement list, and specifically Hatch Road widening from a couple hundred feet east of Mitchell all the way to Faith Home. There was an opportunity to get grant funding for this project, and we were subsequently awarded $480,000 in STBG funding for the project. We actually applied for $5 million. This is one of the ones that it's actually the only one that we just missed by 3 points in getting awarded actually $5 million. So we will be going after that funding again in the next funding round. So we're at now, being that we received the $480,000, we are now adding that to the capital improvement program. And we will actually combine the Hatch Road widening with the surface water transmission main. The surface water transmission main is in the city's water master plan. And this is another, essentially we call it the south section of the surface water transmission main that goes through the city. We want to combine these projects for really one main reason, and that's economies of scale. If we do them separately, we're going to need separate geotechnical reports, separate surveying, separate money when we get into construction. We have separate permits, bonds, licenses, those types of things. So all in all, these being combined, which is generally the way you want to perform roadway and utility projects, when there is a roadway that needs to be widened or utilities need to be put in, you look at everything as a whole, so that way you can put these projects together and get the biggest bang for your buck. I know one of a question came up is that we're essentially authorizing $600,000. The contract is actually only for $550,000. There are other things that are going to need to be completed with the project. All of our NEPA studies, and we don't know which studies those are yet. Once we get a little bit into design, we will submit what we call our preliminary environmental study. We'll submit that to Caltrans. Caltrans then reviews it, comes back and says, hey, you need an ISA, you need, which is an environmental initial site assessment. You may need cultural resources because we are actually widening. So there are different studies that they can require. The additional money will be used for that. If any of those contracts come in over $25,000, then obviously we will come back to council for that approval. One other thing that I wanted to note on this, in the resolution section, down at the bottom of the first page of the resolution, it says the council has conducted such public hearing and considered all objections to the assessment. That's actually in there twice. It's on the top of the second page of the resolution. To be honest, I thought I took both of those whereases out. So we would ask that when the motion happens, if it's for approval, that we strike both of those whereases, because there was no public hearing necessarily conducted for this project or the surface water transmission main project. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We'll now go ahead and open this up to the public. Any members of the public would like to make a comment on this item?
I have a question. Will we be able to address you later when it isn't about all this?
Address what?
That's my question. Will we be able to address you later?
Address this specific item later after this is passed or not passed?
About something else that isn't even on here?
Yeah, no.
No?
Not
Well,
necessarily.
then I'll say my piece now, if the answer is no.
Is this related to?
Mr. Martinez is not here. He represents District 5. We have District 4. We now have 4 districts, which we didn't even need. We're not even at 50,000 people. That means everything you voted on tonight, you have voted without me or my people or anybody in my area or even the downtown, which is in my area. We have no representation here. What are you doing? You still need 2 people at large, 2 commissioners at large that will represent the whole city. Because right now I look at you, and there's not a one of you up there that represents me or my area. And that's my problem. So will you please consider doing whatever you have to do to make an election where we have 2 more commissioners at large, which would represent the whole city? Because you're turning into a big joke. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to discuss this item? Anyone online?
There are no hands raised or no emails received.
Bring this item back for any comments and or questions. Councilwoman Otero, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mike, for addressing. There were some questions I had asked you, and so I do appreciate you addressing those tonight. I just want clarification for this particular resolution. There's not going to be any movement with, I guess these are just more of like the design, the planning of it and everything, because my concern is I want to make sure that if this widening is going to affect any property owners, that everyone is notified timely, and that we have the proper public hearings so they can give their thoughts.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman. So to address property owners, for the most part, all of one, either we have enough right of way, or two, it is city-owned property. And the only other private property owners that would be affected are east of River Bluff Park. And we are actually coordinating with the county on that. They have their Faith Home Road project over the Tuolumne River that actually comes in and connects to Faith Home Road. And they are actually the ones that are providing property acquisition services for, I believe it's 2 parcels right there for right-of-way services, because they need their right-of-way also for their project. So all of that will go through the proper process. And we will take a look at that as we move forward and coordinate with the county on their side of the project also.
Thank you. I just hope, you talking about collaborating with the county and everything, that Faith Home project might take many years. So I hope that it doesn't hold up our project, at least to widen the road.
I don't believe that it's actually going to hold our project up. I think is what you may see. It's really a small piece of land that we would need. I believe it's about 12 feet that we actually need. So I guess from a worst case scenario, most likely you would get curb, gutter, your traffic lanes, all of that in. And on the north side, you may be missing sidewalk and the landscape area right there on the north side. But they would have the class 1 bike path that'll be separated that they'll be able to actually use at that point to get over from essentially Faith Home to Eastgate. If they wanted to cross over to River Bluff, they could cross over there. So I don't think that it'll hold our project up necessarily. It'll just be that potentially that north side may not be fully developed until the county actually does their acquisition.
Thank you.
Bill Trans, what is the anticipated timeline for completion of the design and the environmental review before going to construction?
So design and environmental should be completed within the next year. As we move through this process, as soon as we can get essentially a cross section and a 30% design, we'll submit for our environmental studies, our preliminary environmental study through Caltrans. Once we receive those comments back on what technical studies we need, we will then go through and start those technical studies. But I wouldn't see this taking any longer than a year to complete design and environmental. As far as going to construction, this is about the Hatch Road widening portion of it is about a $9 million project. So we will most likely be going after some sort of grant funding, whether that is HSIP funding, CMAQ, STBG in the next funding round. Any of those funding sources we'll use. Obviously, there will be a match. We can also inject SB1 money, Measure L money into this also, which will be needed regardless, simply for the match. But we will figure out those funding sources as we move through the process.
Thank you very much. Is there any additional comments or questions? Councilwoman Vieira.
Thank you. Just kind of want to reiterate kind of what we talked about a little while ago regarding, I saw a lot of this incorporates Measure L funds. And I had mentioned that I am wanting to make sure that we get our part, because it's set to sunset in 2042. And whatever project you can move forward, I think is key, especially with the sunsetting of the grant money that's out there. Especially when it comes to capital improvement projects, because if this isn't renewed, we then have to find other ways to find grant funding to make these projects work in the city. So I just wanted to confirm that it looks like all of this is using grant fund of some sort and none of it's hitting the general fund.
That is correct, Councilwoman. No general fund resources are being used in this, and we will continue to apply for and hopefully win millions of dollars in grant funding for this city. Just like in the last funding round, we won $18.5 million, which was second only to Modesto, who is about 5 times bigger than us. So it is something that our department prides itself on. We submit good applications and we submit winning applications that will get us the most grant funding feasible or possible through every funding round that we go to.
Thank you. And the one thing I've noticed is this process takes several years. It's not something like you come up with a capital improvement project, because I'm noticing that with Crow's Landing, and then even the Central Avenue sidewalk with Hackett, that you've been working on for several years. And I'm glad you're getting a head start on a lot of this, especially with it sunsetting at some point, even though it seems many years away. In reality, we have to start a lot of these long-term projects now.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional comments or questions? Bring this item back for a motion.
Okay, I'll motion the resolution amending the capital improvement project to add the Hatch Road widening project to the existing SRWA South Transmission Main project, accepting the $480,000 in surface transportation block grant funds, approving budget amendments, appropriating $480,000 in surface transportation block grant funds and $120,000 in Measure L funds, approving project agreement number 6 with Westwood Professional Services in an amount not to exceed $550,000, and authorizing the interim city manager to execute the agreement.
That also include the striking of the public hearing twice. Please add that to your motion.
And removing the public hearing.
Striking twice.
There's two recitals referencing a public hearing.
Okay, and removing the 2 recitals for the public hearing.
I believe there's a second as well.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
Yes.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Otero,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
So item number 2, I do have a note here from staff. The title of the item F2 should include approving a budget amendment and should read as follows. Appropriating $5 million in congestion mitigation and air quality improvement program funds to account 26895.800,500. That's 2530 for preliminary engineering, environmental documentation, and final design for the State Route 99 Service Road Mitchell Road Interchange Project and approving a budget amendment. Michael.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. This item before you is accepting and appropriating the $5 million in grant funding we received for the Service and Mitchell Interchange. This is being funded through CMAQ, which is Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Funds. This actually pays for over half of our design, environmental, traffic services for the Service and Mitchell Road Interchange project. So this $5 million will be at an authorized total amount of about $8.7 million, $8.65 million of the $9.94 million that is needed. Knowing that this funding round came out, we did not go back to StanCog for the full allocation of the regional funds because we wanted to see if we could receive these $5 million in funds. We did. So now we will look for other opportunities on filling the about $1.2 million gap. But if we need to go back to StanCog, we do have money in our regional funds for this project specifically. We just want to save as much of that funding as we can for right-of-way acquisition services and construction matching funds when we need to go out for construction and right-of-way. So with that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and open this public comment period. Anyone with a question or comment on this item? Seeing none. Anyone online?
There are no hands raised and no emails received.
Bring this back to council for comments and or questions. Councilwoman Otero.
Thank you, Mayor. Mike, just for clarification and for the record, it says final design. So this is the final design of the new style of interchange that the city's coming up with, right?
Thank you for your question. Yes, this is for final design. It essentially gets us all the way through final design. There are obviously iterations that we have to go through. Comments have to be received from Caltrans, the railroad, and any other agencies that have a stake. For instance, PG&E is going to need to move gas lines, that type of stuff. So yes, this leads all the way up to final design. I will say that in any of these major projects like this, you actually stop at about the 90% range, and you look at that point for your funding to fund the project and then finalize. And the reason we do that is because we don't go all the way to finalizing without funding, simply because if a code changes or anything like that, then we're having to redo our 90% drawings to get back to 100%. So you will actually stop at about 90%. We'll get funding. As soon as that funding comes through, we'll make any minor adjustments that we need to the plans based on any code changes, standard changes through Caltrans, and then we will publish the 100% plans and go out to bid. But that is once funding is received for the project.
Thank you. And is the city pretty confident now that this project will move forward? I know previously, like I said, there was some prior design that we could no longer use because it was going to be too costly. I mean, there's a lot of money going into this project again, so are we confident it's going to move forward the way it is now?
So to answer your question, yes, I am very confident that it will move forward. The one thing that we have to keep in mind is that right now, for instance, the StanCog board has set SR 132 as their priority, which they have gotten a long way on 132. So we will never compete against another project in our own county. That is not just because a board prioritizes it or anything of that sort. That is a strategic move. Most likely, if we went after two different, say, build grants, federal build grants, at the same time, even though they both could be great projects, most likely we would get zero. So we will always coordinate with our partners in other cities and StanCog to make sure that when it is our turn to go for this, we will put our best foot forward to get the grant money that we need. And that includes these other jurisdictions supporting us, just as we have supported them with SR 132 or any projects that they may have. So I am confident that with the new design, cutting this down from almost $300 million to about $100 million, that we will get this to the finish line. I would love to say best case scenario, open to traffic in about 2032. I think the more realistic timeline is going to be open to traffic in 2034 or 35. And that's simply because we have to look at who's going after funding, what funding we have as a regional, as Stanislaus County, not the county itself, but all of the projects that we have going to make sure that we position ourselves and we have the support from all of our electeds, both you guys, state electeds, federal electeds, and even other municipalities around us, so that we have that support going forward to put that application in that can be a winning application to fund this project.
Thank you.
Bill Trans, quick question. How long have you been with the city of Ceres?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And in those 2.5 years, we're having this conversation about this interchange. And I'd mentioned to you when I first came here to the city of Ceres, that project was moving nowhere. And there was a lot of issues that were happening. And when I got on StanCog, as I started educating myself on transportation, there was a time with the previous city manager prior to Doug Dunford that we realized that there were some things that had not been completed. I wanted to say thank you, not only for completing this project up to where we are today, but also seeing that there was a cost savings by not going with the prior design, which Councilwoman Otero had noted. And I think that's very, very important. But I will say this, and this has been talked about very much so at StanCog. The moment that you are shovel ready, that this project will be considered to move forward. And yes, the COG is making sure that SR 132 is the priority. But as one of the 16 board members, there's plenty of other projects that we have also funded. And I think that if we continue to push forward with this project and move just a little faster, which only is allowed based on Caltrans, correct? that we can possibly get this done maybe prior to 2035, or at least before my lifetime here at the city council. So thank you very much for making those extreme changes, which are very vital, and also to all the staff that's been involved since then. So I want to say thank you to that. And I think one of my questions I was going to ask you is in regards to what we're doing here today, how long will it take for this design to be completed? Will it be a year or two? I think you might have answered that question, but just to reiterate.
Yeah, so we're actually expecting comments to our traffic operations analysis report in 2 days. August 26th was the Caltrans imposed deadline. Once that is approved, which I'm sure they will have some comments that we will need to address and send back in for finalization. But once that is really one of the biggest report approvals that we need. Once we have that approval, it kind of sets in motion everything that has to do with the design, whether we go with a 4-lane bridge, a 2-lane bridge, how our on-ramps look, our off-ramps look, all of those types of things. So it's probably one of the most vital report approvals that we actually need. And so I'm confident that report will be approved probably here in the next couple of months. And we should have design then completed or to that 90% mark to where we're ready to go for funding, probably sometime mid to late next year.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Anyone else? Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll motion to appropriate $5 million in congestion mitigation and air quality improvement program funds to account 268.95.800500 or parentheses 2530 for preliminary engineering, environmental documentation, and final design for the State Route 99 Service Road / Mitchell Road Interchange Project.
I'll second.
We need to be sure to include approving the budget amendment in that
I was
motion.
going to pass this over to Councilwoman and amending this portion here.
Oh, I didn't see that part on my.
Yeah, those are my.
Okay, I was like, I didn't see that.
Go ahead.
Part. Oh, we're here and include approving a budget amendment. Where's?
Yeah, that's correct.
And appropriating the $5 million in congestion mitigation and air quality improvement program funds to account 26895.800500 for preliminary engineering, environmental documentation, and final design for State Route 99 Service Road, Mitchell Road Interchange Project, and approving a budget amendment.
Awesome. And there was a second, so roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey?
Yes.
Councilmember Vieira?
Yes.
Councilmember Otero?
Yes.
Mayor Lopez?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item number 3 is declaring the city's intent to negotiate and enter into a revenue sharing agreement with the Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District following the proposed annexation of the Ceres Fire Protection District. And this will be done by our interim city manager, Steve Williams.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. The item before you tonight is a resolution declaring the city's intent to negotiate and enter into a future revenue sharing agreement with Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District. For more than 60 years, the city of Ceres has provided fire protection and emergency service responses to the area served by the Ceres Fire Protection District under contractual agreements. The Ceres Fire Protection District is now seeking to dissolve and have its service area annexed into the Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District. LAFCO is scheduled to consider that reorganization this Wednesday, August 26th. LAFCO initially considered the proposal on June 24th. Several commissioners expressed concern about a potential financial and operational effects on the city of Ceres. LAFCO subsequently continued the matter from June 24th to August 26th to allow additional consideration of how fire protection services and the associated financial impacts would be addressed. On July 13th, 2026, the city of Ceres received a letter from the Ceres Fire Protection District thanking the city for its service over the years and declaring its desire to be annexed into the Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District. On July 27th, the Ceres City Council received an informational report from the fire chief, deputy fire chief, on the proposed annexation, and then directed staff to begin discussions with Stanislaus Consolidated regarding a revenue sharing agreement. Since receiving that direction, representatives of the city have met with a subcommittee of Stanislaus Consolidated Board. Those discussions have been productive. Representatives of both agencies have expressed support for negotiating an agreement that would continue to fund the city at a level generally equivalent to the revenue that the city is currently receiving for providing fire protection within the Ceres Fire Protection District area. However, there has not been sufficient time to negotiate the full details and obtain formal approval of a comprehensive agreement before this Wednesday's LAFCO meeting. As an interim step, the two agencies, City of Ceres and Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District, prepared substantially similar resolutions expressing their mutual intent to continue negotiating in good faith. The Stanislaus Consolidated Board adopted its resolution last Wednesday, August 19th. The corresponding city resolution is before you tonight. I want to emphasize what this resolution does and what it does not do. This resolution demonstrates to LAFCO that the city and Stanislaus Consolidated are working cooperatively to address the financial impacts of the proposed reorganization. It also confirms that the city's intent is to protect its financial interest by continuing revenue sharing negotiations. However, this resolution is expressly non-binding. It does not approve a revenue sharing agreement. It does not establish a payment amount or duration. It does not authorize an expenditure or obligate the city to accept any particular financial or contractual term. When staff successfully negotiates an agreement, that complete agreement will return to the City Council at a duly noticed public meeting for separate consideration and approval. The Council will retain full discretion to approve, modify, or reject the proposed agreement at that time. Adoption of this resolution tonight has no direct fiscal impact. Its purpose is to provide a formal framework for continued negotiations and allow LAFCO to proceed with its consideration of the reorganization on Wednesday without waiting for the final agreement to be completed. With the mutual commitments reflected in these resolutions, the city has advised LAFCO that it supports approval of the proposed reorganization and is not requesting that the August 26th hearing be delayed. I plan to be present at the August 26th LAFCO meeting to represent the city. Staff therefore recommends that the City Council adopt a resolution declaring the city's intent to negotiate and enter into a future revenue sharing agreement with the Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District following the proposed annexation of the Ceres Fire Protection District. That concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions you have.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and open this up to the public. Any members of the public would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none, anyone on Zoom?
There are no hands raised and no emails received.
Bring this item back for any comments, questions, and or motion.
So a motion to declare the city's intent to negotiate and enter into a revenue sharing agreement with the Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District following the proposed annexation of the Ceres Fire Protection District.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Casey,
Yes.
Councilmember Vieira,
Yes.
Councilmember Otero,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the discussion item. This is Joint City Council and Planning Commission meeting, and Fallon will present the item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item comes before you as it started as a referral item that was made by Vice Mayor Martinez on April 13th of this year. On July 13th of this year, Council provided consensus for staff to move forward with scheduling a joint Planning Commission City Council meeting. The last City Council and Planning Commission meeting was held on January 29th, 2024. And the items that were discussed during that meeting were transportation, residential growth, commercial growth, industrial growth, and signage. So the purpose of this item is for council to have a discussion on the items they would like to see agendized. Based on that information, I will reach out to the Planning Commission to get their input on items they would like to have agendized and move forward with scheduling a meeting. So at this point, I'll turn it over to council to have that discussion.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and open this up to the public. Any members of the public would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none. Anyone on Zoom?
There are no hands raised and no emails received.
Okay, bring this item back to the council. Councilwoman Otero, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Fallon, will there be an opportunity for Vice Mayor to share his input as to the agenda since he couldn't be present tonight?
I don't see there would be a problem for me to reach out to him via email and to get his input.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I think that is appropriate. Thank you for asking. Sorry.
I don't have anything else at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so, Councilwoman Vieira, before I go to you, the only thing that I have is my recommendation would be training and education for the planning commissioners, specifically for onboarding new commissioners, encouraging newly appointed commissioners to attend the Cal Cities Planning Commissioners Academy, provide annual refreshers trainings as schedule permits, include funding in the next year's budget for registration, travel, and lodging. I know there was an email sent to the city manager on these items in case, Fallon, you don't get that completely. Councilwoman Vieira?
You kind of touched on what I was going to say. I was thinking the education updates with legal aspects like the Brown Act and SB 707, as well as just kind of the annual trainings that are basic trainings that we should all kind of need reminders of, and changes in laws that we're not always aware of. And I think that's important. I think just that we all get it at the same time, so we're all on the same page. We don't have to have the attorney there multiple times to provide us with the exact same training with the updates and laws.
Councilwoman, I seen that you pressed your button. I forgot I had it on my list. Housing. I know that could be broad, but housing. Councilwoman Otero.
Thank you. I just thought of something. When it comes to this joint meeting, it's open to the public, correct? And will it be recorded? Can we make it in that setting?
Yeah, we do plan to have it open to the public and recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Any other, Mr. Casey, go ahead.
Any decisions that were being made, would they just be suggestions to be brought back to the council for approval?
That is correct. Any suggestions that come out of that meeting will still need to follow the same process as we've always had.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
One thought that I had as this item was being prepared, and I think this touches on Councilmember Vieira's request, is that I'm recommending and will be coordinating with the city manager and staff that as part of this joint meeting, we prepare a short presentation for the council and the planning commission on the role and responsibility of the planning commission within the context of the city organization, and how the planning commission is to work and intended to work with the city council on land use items. So as a refresher of sorts on how that dynamic works and maybe some best practices, we can include a few touch points related to changes in SB 707, the Brown Act, and other social media rules that are now in place. And so it's probably a good time to refresh everybody on that. And so that is something that I'll be working on with the city manager's office.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Any additional comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to council member referrals. Council member referral requests have an agenda item placed on the future agenda pursuant to Chapter 2, City Council Meeting J8, City Referral Determination items on the agenda. And the first one that we have is hold an administrative personal changes for 90 days requested by Councilmember Otero at the August 10th, 2026 regular City Council meeting. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. I am requesting our city not make any administrative personnel changes for 90 days outside of any serious ethical violation or legal misconduct that would require immediate action. I do want to make sure that we're currently focusing on serving our residents stability and leadership. I do recognize and I understand that that the hiring and administrative decisions do fall under the city manager's authority. But as a council, I'd like us to maintain appropriate financial oversight and protect the integrity of the current budget. So for me, it's important that we remain within budget. And from a financial standpoint, we do need to carefully review any fiscal impacts so we don't increase our expenditures when it comes to any of our current vacancies or recruitments. My understanding is that we will have a quarterly report this year, and this might give us a clearer picture of where we're at financially. So I would encourage us to defer changes that might create additional ongoing expenditures until we've had a chance to review the quarterly financial report. Thank you.
Go ahead and open this up to the public. Any members of the public would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none. Anyone on Zoom?
There are no hands raised.
I bring this item back to council. Any additional comments? Seeing none. Oh, actually, seeing one. Councilwoman Vieira.
I guess I'm a little confused because we have a city manager in place to kind of oversee the day-to-day interactions. That's not really something we do. And I guess I kind of feel like we're taking or stripping the city manager from his understanding of how the city's going, because I don't know the day-to-day operations. I don't know where the needs are necessarily outside of what's being relayed to us in public session. So I'm not necessarily comfortable unless the city manager feels that there's a need to strip him of his needs to make the changes he needs to function properly in the city. And I want the city to be able to flow comfortably in which he's able to direct staff accordingly, where I feel like this would, and again, he may have to tell me otherwise, but I think it's important that we still leave the day-to-day operations with the city manager and not oversee or micromanage him too much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I just truly don't think that it's appropriate at this time for us to do any type of freeze. We've already passed our budget. We've given direction to the city manager in regards to all the hiring that we are proposing and requesting. And I would like to remain the way things are. And Councilwoman Otero, go ahead.
Just for clarification, the referral is not pertaining to a freeze. I just want to make sure that the finances are in order before any administrative changes are made. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And unless there's any additional comments, we'll go for consensus from left to right. No for me.
And no, we approve the budget, which limits what we can hire in every position now, and anything outside of that has to come to council. So I think leaving it exactly how the budget is with still needing budget approval. I don't see the need for it.
Ms. Casey?
Yes.
Okay. You got that, Fallon? Okay. Any additional referrals from the council?
I do have one, Mayor. I would like to see the city explore a citizens advisory committee for downtown revitalization. Thank you.
Would that be more of a bring it back? Right? It was never depleted. It just hasn't, there's just been no meetings, right? Okay.
Well, it would be a separate committee that I'm asking.
My apologies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know.
With that.
I would like to see it separated from Planning Commission, create its own advisory committee for downtown.
Okay. Makes sense. My apologies. You got that, Fallon? Okay. Anybody else? Seeing none. Going to reports. I have nothing to report. Any other council members? Rosalinda?
Thank you. Are you going to cover the SWAT dinner? Okay. I just don't want to touch it if you're going to touch it because that was your party and I don't want to crash your party because I think I did. Okay. First, I want to thank code enforcement. I know that's kind of your area because you've done an amazing job in trying to keep Tuscany Village clean and free of many of the concerns we've had, as well as getting it cleaned up because I know we had weeds that were higher than my height and I am not super tall, but they shouldn't be over 5 feet. So I appreciate you getting that all cleaned up, getting it refenced, working with the new buyer. I'm hoping that you can convince them to start doing something with those homes. So I just first wanted to thank you for everything. And I see you have the lights out there, and I see the police cameras out there monitoring the area. And we've had some serious crimes out there. So I appreciate you, the steps that the police department has done to keep that area a little cleaner and a little safer. The SWAT dinner, I'm going to leave that to you. I don't want to take I appreciate everything you guys do. I think it's key, your contribution, your time, allowing the community to come by and get to know the police officers, getting to celebrate another year together. And I had an amazing time. And yes, I did stay to the end and help stack tables and clean them because I think it's important. They work every single day for the well-being of the safety of the community. And so I think the last thing I could do was clean a few tables and stack a few chairs. So I appreciate them not kicking me out and allowing me to help do that part because I think it's key because I appreciate them. And I think that was one little thing that I can do to let them know that I appreciate everything you guys do for us and the community. A few things going on in the community. I know September 12th, we kind of have a busy day. The morning we have the Ceres Community Garden ribbon cutting at 9 a.m. That evening at 5 p.m. is the annual Modesto Gospel Mission Gala. It's a way they help raise money to help those that do want to get into housing and go through the transitional part of it and need housing. And this is how they raise some of the money for that event. Now, the Soil Center, I've had a lot of great interactions with the community regarding the Soils Education Center that's on Service Road, or Central and Keys, I apologize. It's at 5965 North Central Avenue, so it's south of Central Valley High School, but it's north of Keys Road. They're having an open house Friday, August 28th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a great way for the community, especially the Ceres residents, to come out and discover what the East Stanislaus Regional Conservation District does, connecting with conservation, agriculture, and education in the community. It is a free event. They have a lot of free events. A lot of them are even led by instructors over at the Department of Ag. So they're going to have some seed harvesting, garden tours, composting information, and a lot of other stuff. I did reach out to them. I know one of the board members, and we're going to work on trying to get something in the weekends. So that way the community members that are at work can also participate and engage in some of these community opportunities. There is a college fair and transfer fair. I know MJC started today, so it's been a little chaotic. But we do have a music college fair and transfer fair coming up this Wednesday on West Campus on Blue Gum in Modesto. So if those of you who want to come out, that's a great opportunity, especially if you have high school seniors or college students to come out and get engaged and hopefully come back and reach your educational goals. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Councilmember Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a proclamation earlier today about the Patriots' Day. We have the American Legion, the VFW, is going to put on a appreciation of what the first responders did, the firemen, the policemen, and they would like to invite everyone that possibly can attend. It's scheduled to start at 8:30 and suggestion to be there at 8 o'clock. Please tell your neighbors about it. It's an important event to remember the sacrifices that our first responders did on that day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Casey. Councilwoman Otero.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank again those that were all involved with the improvements throughout the city. I've gotten some positive feedback from the community, and it's important to give credit to those who are doing the work for us. So our parks team and streets and facilities team, I do appreciate it. And I look forward to continuing seeing these improvements. And then also, I do want to thank city staff. I do ask I ask questions of the city manager a lot related to different things like contracts and all of that. And I'm truly just trying to get an understanding on how we keep our city moving forward and everybody's paying their fair share of what's required to maintain, parks or maintain like a recreation program. So I do appreciate each of you for the work that you've been doing.
Councilwoman Otero, you just made me remember something as well. I wanted to mention that football season is starting. So I know both Ceres High and Central Valley High School have some of their first games on Thursday and Friday. There was a scrimmage on last Friday, and we saw a lot of teams in the area go at it one-on-one. I just wanted to give everybody good luck to the season. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make my report short this evening. As I mentioned, I do plan to attend the LAFCO meeting this Wednesday, represent the city at that hearing. I believe September 8th is the first meeting of the Military Appreciation Committee. So we're looking forward to getting that started. I also want to thank Public Works staff, specifically parks, streets, and facilities, like Councilmember Otero said. They did a great job on something that was very much needed. And in anticipation of this agreement that you just approved tonight with Elite, it was recognized that those areas that they went out and serviced last week were, we didn't want to wait for the new contract to start and see how long it would take the landscapers to get to that area. So I do thank the staff for their hard and dedicated work. Thank you.
City Manager, I'll say that I will acknowledge, as other council members have, that when I seen that in District 2 and then also the comments online, I do really want to say thank you for coming up with the plan, following through, and then also the staff for enduring the city council and our stress over to make sure that we continue to keep this city clean and maintained as well. So thank you once again. City Attorney.
Nothing to report tonight, but very happy to be back with you.
Oh, yes, thank you. Department heads, we'll go from left to right. That's okay.
So thank you, Mayor, council members. So just have a couple of things. One, our City Hall sewer lateral replacement project is almost complete. It should actually be 100% complete this Friday. We are connected back to sewer, which made a lot of people happy. Tomorrow, the regular City Hall entrance will be back open. So all the flooring is laid, concrete's laid in front. So we're good to go. And so we'll be opening the City Hall doors tomorrow morning. The last portion of the windows that need to get put in the back will be done either Thursday or Friday. And that will conclude that project. So thank you for everybody's patience over the last couple of weeks with no sewer. It was definitely challenging, but everybody pulled through, and so I want to thank everybody for their patience while we ended up rerouting traffic to the side entrance. Employees had to go to the community center to use the restrooms and those types of things. So thank you to everybody that was involved in that. Hatch Road, the shutoffs are actually scheduled to start happening in about an hour. The first one is the Darby and Richland area. So we, as you all know, we put out 3 24-hour notices. They all affect different areas. One area on the south east corner of Hatch and Richland is affected by all 3 shutoffs. So we've put those notices out to everybody. I have gotten a few calls. Just so you know, my cell number is the one that is on those papers. If anybody has questions, any time of the day or night, my phone will be on, and I'll be available to take those, including for anything that happens, obviously with our crews that are out on site. So that first shutoff will happen at 9 o'clock tonight. We are obviously hoping that we can have water back on by 9 or 10. However, the last time we did this, we were just turning valves, trying to figure out how to turn valves, which valves to turn off, which valves to turn on to get this shutdown to happen. Unfortunately, we found a couple of broken valves. That's what this is actually going to be replacing. So as we move through this, it is actually construction this time. We're digging, we're turning water off, we're replacing valves, replacing pipe, all of those ancillary things that need to be done with a valve replacement. And so there can be hiccups, and that is why we noticed this for 24 hours. We are obviously hoping that it only lasts, 12 to 14 hours at most. but when you start digging into the ground, you never know what you're going to find sometimes. So again, my phone number is on all of those shut-off notices to every residence and business. And we are making sure that we coordinate this and get it done as quickly as possible for our residents. Thank you.
And I will just note to the city manager and to your department that I've seen a lot of this online that was going around. Plus, I know that you guys did your due diligence by sending this to all the residents. I live in District 1, and there was a lot of concerned citizens, and I'm glad there was your phone number on there, not mine. Thank you. Next person.
Good evening, council. Just a couple of community events. So the Modesto Roadsters will have a series night this Thursday, August 27th, starting at 11 p.m. And then we have the night market starting next Wednesday in the evening. I believe it's from 5 to 8 p.m.
Thank you.
Good evening, council. I just wanted to, first of all, thank all the public works divisions for, as you guys all said, stepping up to take over tasks that were previously completed by other people and just to fill the gap. It's also just within the departments, people basically doing whatever's necessary to get the job done across the board. And I just want to thank all the staff for that. And I just wanted to notify the council that at the beginning of September, we will be conducting our biannual or every 2-year lead and copper sampling. These samples will go to 60 homes that are on a pre-constructed list that was provided by the state. So if you guys get any questions regarding that, this is something that happens every 2 years. We have to do it. And it's on a list that's given to us by the state. So the city manager was provided the notice that's going to go to them, and just want to let you guys know in case you guys receive that. All of the 60 residents will be contacted and instructions given to them by our water staff to make sure that they follow the appropriate sampling procedures, because this sample has to be taken from inside of the home with a first draw with no prior usage for 6 hours. So they have to be notified ahead of time. It's really just to get a real life sample of what they're going to be receiving in their homes, going through the piping, going through everything that is within the home. So I just want to let you guys know about that. And if you have any questions, I'll be able to answer those and hopefully inform you guys so that if you get questions from the public, you can answer those as well. That's all.
Thank you. My right side.
Just a few things. Number one, thank you for bringing up the SWAT dinner. That is months and months of work that these guys put into that one night. And it's so beneficial for the team and really for the city, because that originated out of a need for training and equipment that we couldn't get otherwise. So it helps offset some costs for the city, but it's also an awesome time. We have such a good time doing it, but it is a ton of work. I saw the mayor there. I saw Councilmember Vieira there. Thank you for your support. I know you guys all support us, but those are the only two I saw. Thank you for that. So if you haven't been yet, it's a great time. I highly encourage it. Number two, you might see something online. It's starting to blow up pretty big online. We're currently working a missing 72-year-old Punjabi female. I just want to let you guys know, and whoever else might be listening to this, that we're doing everything we can. We've contacted all the family members, all friends, all likely places where she could go, hospitals, just every step we could take. I've directed our investigative staff to stop all non-essential investigations and work solely on this, time permitting. Unfortunately, at this point, we still haven't located her, but the search will continue through the night, through tomorrow. So that's all over social media. I want to let you know what's going on. And then lastly, again, thank you for the words on code enforcement. They do an incredible job. They just get hammered from all angles, and they just keep trucking along. They got a great attitude. And so with that, well, you saw the numbers, all the numbers they presented last meeting. So they're obviously working hard, and through all that, just some good news to bring to you. The Triple R process. We do pay attention to our social media, and we know some of it helps us keep the pulse of the city. And I know one of the big concerns is that Triple R spot. We got with help from White Brenner, we got the warrant signed. We will complete the abatement process on Thursday. And that's really just step one of the whole process. We need to deal with that, but at least we can clean up the way it looks. It'll look a lot better. We'll rope it off a little bit, but Thursday afternoon, it should be all cleaned up.
Thank you. And just for the record, I know, Rosalind, you might have a question. Just how does it feel to be the acting chief?
I don't like it.
All right. All right. Rosalinda, you had a comment.
I know I talked to you that night. I did use the lawnmower. It's amazing. I even mowed my neighbor's lawn. So I just thank the team for picking something that I desperately needed. And it's so lightweight and easy to use. So it works perfectly for someone who's had shoulder replacements. So thank you. And it was a blast.
Thank you.
Just to continue the discussion about water, we're working with the city and our fire department to make pre-plans, including water tenders, in the event that we need large volumes of water this evening. Hopefully everything goes as planned, but we have plans in place should there be a need.
Thank you very much. Nothing to report? Thank you very much. Okay, with that being said, we will now go into closed session for a conference with legal counsel regarding anticipation litigation. California Government Code, Section 54956.9, 2, for one potential case. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak regarding this closed session item? Thank you, Brad, for hanging out with us till the end, sir. Good night, sir. And after closed session, I will return to report out. God bless everyone and have a good evening. Welcome back, everyone. We have returned from closed session and there is nothing to report out. Thank you.